and Palesa.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being a part of the Channel Africa family. Do join us. It's going to be a good one. We're going to start the first hour on a social media note, speaking about rage bait.
Yeah, I like that one because it's everywhere on social media. Oh, these tears. And you're like, are these real tears or are they crocodile tears? These emotions, sometimes they feel real. At other times, you're not quite sure if it's someone that's trying to clickbait you.
And many times you go on there and people are putting out, content that can be quite hurtful
And
to
triggering.
others, very triggering to others. But at the end of the day, the numbers are up. And that's exactly what that particular content creator would be looking for. So we're going to be unpacking rage bait in today's first hour of the show. And then we're going to move on to speak about school exams and evaluations. But also
this is a
asking the
technical
question
one,
around
isn't it?
fairness.
Yeah, I mean,
especially in universities, right?
Yeah, I mean, assessment practices from school exams to professional evaluations are extended to gauge knowledge, skills, and performance. Yet ensuring they are fair and effective remains a significant challenge, especially in the world of artificial intelligence, especially in the era of PhDs. I think the education system really needs to catch up on this one because technology is taking over in the space. I was looking at a lady who was a lecturer who was scolding a student on TikTok and scolding this learner because they were using a social media, or not even a social media app, but an AI app to actually transcribe what she was saying in the classroom. And she was arguing that why don't you use hand notes? Why are you using this computerized thing? And she was like, but it's doing the same thing. And I was like, yeah, it's doing the same thing. What's wrong with doing that?
Yeah. Well, we'll move on into the final hour of the show. We had a conversation last week about a couple's journey of a fertility treatment. And then we're going to have a part 2 of that one because we didn't quite finish the conversation, and we're going to be going into embracing parenthood after that particular treatment of infertility for a couple, and that's going to be our part 2 for that conversation.
So basically what that is that after you go through that infertility journey, and once you actually succeed with pregnancy, what's the transition from that painful journey to that joyful moment? It's not an easy one. What's your take on all these subject matters? Give us your thoughts as we journey through these different themes on +27 63406 9126. You can text us or voice note us there. Join us on at Channel Africa 1 on all social media platforms, especially on our live streams. We are on Facebook and also on YouTube using that handle at Channel Africa 1.
Get set and be ready to go. On the move with Palesa and Benjamin Moshatama. Africa Update on Channel Africa with Lulu Kabu.
Mozambique's opposition leader Venancio Mondlane has been charged with incitement to terrorism and disobedience. He faces a total of 5 charges. The charges relate to post-election violence that left hundreds of people dead. What punishment is he looking at?
The most severe charges are 2. One is incitement for terrorism, and also is being charged for mobilizing people for terrorism during the protests. These charges are really serious and severe. If he is condemned, is found guilty, he could serve 10 years plus years in jail, meaning that he would be banned from political participation, mainly for the 2028 and 2029 electoral cycle.
The director of CDD, the Center for Democracy and Development, Adriano Novunga.
Africa Update with Lulu Kabu, 12 to 1 p.m. Central African Time.
Annie Kalonji sur Channel Africa.
Nous allons à présent dérouler notre tapis rouge pour accueillir notre personnalité du jour, l'artiste chanteur Sheky Frey, qui est en ligne de Guinée avec nous.
Je suis un artiste guinéen, un créateur, un styliste, et je fais un peu ce qui plaît à mes fans. Voilà, c'est un peu ça. On a beaucoup de genres de trucs à faire, mais bon, pour le moment, on est basé un peu sur le rap.
D'accord. À quelle période de votre vie avez-vous commencé à vous intéresser à la musique, Sheky?
Bon, je ne crois pas qu'il y ait une période, parce que moi, je suis un mélomane depuis mon petit âge.
Annie Kalonji, tous les dimanches sur Mix Vibration.
Palesa and Benjamin fuel your day with fresh African perspective on Channel Africa.
Hey, you know, social media is capturing us in different ways today. There's always different methods of actually getting attention and getting that algorithm directed in our social media pages. And in recent years, rage bait has become a prominent tactic across digital platforms, particularly on social media. This type of content is designed to provoke strong emotional reactions, most commonly anger or outrage, to drive engagement, boost visibility, and generate clicks. Algorithms that prioritize interaction often amplify rage bait regardless of accuracy or nuance, but they can actually create an emotionally charged environment. They can be triggering for those who are struggling with mental health conditions, but most importantly, can also be politically polarizing. We explore the rise of rage bait content online, what it is, how it spreads, and why it's so effective in capturing our attention. Joining us on this is the friend of the show, Audrey Imbayago, social media specialist and digital marketer. Audrey, it's been a while. Thank you for joining us here on the show.
Thank you so much for having me once again.
It's
How
great.
are you today?
Good. It's great to have you on the show. Let's talk a little bit about defining rage bait. I've described it a little bit, but how do you see it?
All right. So, the first thing people need to understand is that as marketing execs or people who generally work with social media, the main thing we are selling to people is emotion, whether it's good or it's bad. Emotion is the key to every single thing that we do on social media. Now, when it comes to rage baiting is a term that became popular because of social media and how people were using it to trigger certain reactions, specific reactions in people. At first, it started as just jokes, humor, people using dark humor.
Yeah.
And then marketers realized that this brings traffic. The social media influencers realized that this also brings traffic, which in turn turns out to be either money through social media platforms that pay or brands wanting to work with these platforms. So rage baiting became the negative side of people being triggered to respond a certain way intentionally. And the word intentional is very important here. People will do this intentionally to get a reaction out of their audience.
Audrey, there's so many ways to, get interaction and engagement on social media, and not everybody is good at that. That's why we're all sort of trying new strategies on our social media platforms. But when it comes to rage bait in particular, what is it about rage that makes us want to interact, makes us want to go in there and increase engagement for that particular creator?
All right. So the main thing is that the most extreme of emotions are being triggered. Rage baiting doesn't necessarily work with love, because for you to feel extreme love with someone, you would have to have created a connection with them. Let's take, for example, children. When you have a cute baby that's posted on social media, people love them, but they don't have as much engagement with that person. But when it's something that's triggering, something that they know, that the person who is posting knows that this topic specifically will make people angry, there is a group of either women or men that will come with their lives. They will put their lives on the line just to defend a certain topic. That's where rage bait then comes in, the extreme of emotion. That's why they use anger mostly, because anger is one of the extremes of emotions.
You know, is it ethical? That's the big question here, because it feels like at moments someone is being genuine. You're not quite sure. You know, the teary ones are the ones where you're like, I don't know, is this real pain or not? Because you literally see the extremity of someone in emotional distress. But you wonder, are they playing with my emotions or are they being for real? What do you think of the ethics of this?
All right. Ethically speaking, when it comes to marketing, the moral compass is a bit shaky, but in my personal perspective, no, it's not ethically correct. People shouldn't do that. We shouldn't use people's emotions. We shouldn't rage bait people like that, because the day there's a serious issue or a serious problem, no one would take you seriously. It's like the boy that cried wolf. That's the same concept. However, it sells. at the end of the day, people want to make sales. People want the numbers. They want the brand visibility. And at the end of the day, when it comes down to it, that's what people would then say, okay, would I choose money or the risk to say I am the boy who cried wolf? And more times than not, because it's rare for people to then be accountable after rage baiting, they choose the money, unfortunately.
Yeah, that is quite unfortunate, Audrey. But when it comes to content creators and the use of rage bait, as you said, once you get the engagement, then you're good to go because you'll be getting the money versus whatever emotions that you were able to get out of people. Outside of the ethical question, if I am a content creator and I want to boost engagement, the social media platforms are allowing it, aren't they?
Yes, they are. In fact, they love it. They promote it. Why? Because it brings people, it keeps people on their platform.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, social media platforms want people to stay on their platforms. So there's no way around it really when it comes to then asking the TikToks and Facebooks to literally just put in regulations to control what's then put out there. But I think what we can do to control this, it's a growing concern given how impactful social media is around the world, and especially for the young people. Each country needs to put in regulations. This is something that I'm going to push for, even for my country, Zimbabwe, mostly, because regulations in a country mean a social media platform can be held accountable.
Yeah.
The people that post will be held accountable. There are certain features that are not allowed in certain countries, and those things are not even done. The moment the platform allows such things, they are also getting sued by the country of origin. So that's something that we can do as a people collectively.
Okay, Audrey, let's stay on the line. How do we watch out for this? I've been seeing a trend, especially in the US. There are a few articles that have come out via the New York Times whereby there have been a few kids who actually it's a different subject matter. They're interacting with ChatGTP. And there was one that I read of a young boy who actually was suicidal, right? And they were interacting with ChatGTP before they actually killed themselves. And ChatGTP was actually encouraging them to do so until they actually did the act and passed away. And it's such a critical thing. I'm using this example because it's linked to this in a way that, our emotions are something that are connected to other people, right? So if we use social media or even social media tools as a way to run away from the real face-to-face interactions and dealing with our emotions in that way, how do we find ourselves in a dangerous zone? Because I find these things ethically wrong, as you mentioned, but they can actually be triggering for people in a way that actually causes harm and danger. We'll continue the conversation after the break. What do you think about this one? Remember, when I get your thoughts on our WhatsApp number, +2763 406 9126. You can text us and voice note us on that WhatsApp number.
Zochitika ndi madaphiri kamlondola wa zochitika pena paliponse.
Mabhizinesi osiyana-siyana mdziko la South Africa ayamba kukhoma msonkho wa 30% akamagulitsa katundu wawo ku dziko la United States of America. Nepanotele ndikatswiri wa zachuma mu dziko la Malawi Dr. Bertha Chikadza. Boma la South Africa masiku apitawo linanena kuti ngati America akani kutsitsa msonkho, bomalo lipeza misika ina. Mungatifotokozere kuti ndizotheka South Africa kupeza misika yomwe ingabweretse ndalama pafupifupi $15 billion zomwe imapezeka ku nsika ya ku America.
Tinene kuti izizi zitha kuchitika koma sizingachitike mwa pompopompo chifukwa tikaonetsetsa izi zinthu zokuti inali nsika wa dziko la America unali nsika wakukhazikika umene dziko la South Africa linali litazolowera kale. Tsono kuti tingonena kuti dziko la South Africa lipezanso nsika mwina mwasangasanga kuti lizitumiza katundu wake, mwina sizingachitike pacho kuti tikunena apapa $15 billion ndi ndalama zambiri ndithu.
Zochitika ndi madaphiri lolemba mpaka lachisanu pa nthawi ya 7 koloko kufikira 8 koloko madzulo pa Channel Africa. No time to waste. Be on the move with Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa.
We're chatting about rage bait this morning on The Move, and we are still joined by our Zimbabwean friend, Audrey Imbayago, social media specialist and digital marketer, who's helping us unpack this particular conversation. Audrey, there's a reason why rage bait works and is effective because of the emotions, right? But can emotions get so high that this becomes dangerous to do for the creator themselves?
Yes, it is very much possible. Unfortunately, we can't go to each single person and say and check up on them and say, "Are you okay?" and find out exactly what they're doing on their phone, because phones are private. Someone might be doing something dangerous. Number one, they might not know the effects that it has on their mind, and they might not know how.
Audrey, have we lost you? Are you still there? Oh no, we seem to have lost Audrey there on that one. Let's try and get her back on the line. It's a very interesting one, isn't it? Because social media itself is for engagement. It's for sharing stories. It's for people to go on there and speak about things that they can relate to, but also learn things that they don't know. And emotions are a part of that because we're human and we're speaking about the human experience on social media. I hear Audrey is back. Audrey, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Okay, perfect. I know you were on your train of thought. If you can just back it up a little bit and continue there.
All right. So what I was saying is that social media and how we respond to things on our phones is different because it's like a drug. You won't realize it until it's too late that you actually got yourself in a hole that you can't dig yourself out of.
Yeah.
So what I always recommend people to do, first of all, try and stay on the healthy side of social media. It's good to want to look for new things, find recommendations from ChatGPT, use other AI to even make your work better or your social media platform better. But remember, social media is not a real place.
But
Always remember that.
That's
You have
interesting.
a real life, you have emotions, and social media is just another platform for you to interact with people.
Okay, that's
Not a
interesting
real
that you say that because it feels like more and more people are interacting with social media more emotively. I was citing a New York Times article whereby a teen who was suicidal was chatting with ChatGPT and was confiding in this ChatGPT. And I know it's a different thing, but I think it's connected with the emotional aspects and the mental health awareness issues. This boy was the name of Adam Rains. He died in April at the age of 16, and he was actually having conversations in the lead up of the suicide, and it was actually the AI tool that encouraged him to actually kill himself. Now there's a court case that's happening in the US in regards of this, but this case shows us how we are connecting ourselves with social media, right? What do you think are the things that we should be looking out for when it comes to things like rage bait and how we connect our emotions with social media? What should we be looking out for? Because when you started this conversation, you were like, we do use emotions as advertisers on social media. So give us a bit of a help out here because, hey, guningi, it's a lot.
All right. So the first thing will be on the parents. We need to regulate the amount of content or the platforms that our children are on, and we need to monitor those things. Unfortunately, someone's life was lost before anyone could come up and help them. I really wish ChatGPT had a regulations or something that would warn them when someone is having weird conversations, so to speak, with the chatbot. That's the first step that these developers can take. But at the same time, bringing it home to a situation that's currently happening right now, the Alaboga situation. People are coming back on social media. So influencers are trying to apologize and say, we didn't know what was going on. Some of them did a background check, but didn't know it was a trafficking situation. So here's the thing. Try think of social media or your phone. Think of it the same way you interact with people in person. if it was a human being right in front of you telling you the things that you're seeing on your phone,
Yeah.
would you respond the same way?
Yeah, it is hard. It's a tough one indeed because, social media has become a great platform for people sharing stories, but also telling their opinions.
Sure.
So sometimes someone would just be maybe trying to tell their opinions, but people just become hurt by that because at the end of the day, there will be polarizing opinions to yours, even though you are not intentionally rage baiting those people. So how do you tell the difference between a conversation that you generally maybe don't agree on, and maybe you and many others don't agree on that perspective, or an intentional rage bait content?
Palesa, one thing I totally love is that I keep coming back on this show and we keep having these conversations. In another episode, we spoke about boundaries and we spoke about effective communication.
Yes, we did.
First of all, you need to have your own boundaries as a person, as an individual. Have your boundaries. Know what triggers you. Know what works and what doesn't work for you. There are things that you already know. If I see this, it's going to make me want to feel some type of way. Some creators have taken the initiative to say, trigger warning, if you know you are not comfortable with this topic, please make sure that you pass over and we'll see you in the next post. But some of them, they don't do that. So you need to know your own boundaries, know your triggers, know what works for you and what doesn't. You are allowed to filter the content that you see on social media. Just because it's there doesn't mean you have to consume it. Now, the second thing would be, as an individual, you need to make sure that you build your own FYP. People say, I built my FYP brick by brick, and now
Yeah.
there's this thing that's on my FYP. You build it on yourself.
What's an
The more you
FYP, guys? I don't
The
know what
For
that is.
You page. So
For You
essentially your
page.
algorithm.
Okay. Can you explain that a little bit more for our listeners?
All right. So how social media works, especially for TikTok, where you've got an algorithm that thrives on people's interactions. They say that they push content to you, they realize that you like a certain topic, and you will keep seeing that particular topic. So every individual's For You page is different from, like, if there's a billion people on social media on TikTok,
Okay.
there's a billion For You pages that are
Okay.
totally different.
That's so interesting.
Yes, so it's specifically made for you. So when you see content that speaks to you or that interacts with you, even if it's language, if it's culture, if it's even just basic social stories, the algorithm will push one or two posts to you. You then say, if you interact with those two posts, more content like that will keep coming. If you stop interacting with those posts, different content comes up on your For You page.
Okay,
So
Audrey.
those are things that people, yes.
So we have to wrap it up, unfortunately. Where can we find you? Let's not forget that and include that in the conversation if people want to get your expertise as well.
You can find me on TikTok as The Creative Marketer with the Zimbabwean flag at the end, or on LinkedIn as Audrey Tafadzwa Imbayago.
Proudly Zimbabwean, hey?
Yes.
Love that.
Audrey, thank you so much. It's always a pleasure chatting to you. That's social media specialist and digital marketer Audrey Imbayago. We're chatting rage bait and we'll continue after our sports news. Let's bring in Musibudi Makura. It's 9:30 Central Africa time.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African perspective.
Thank you, Palesa. Good morning from the sports desk. So it was back to business for the South African Springbok women's side on Tuesday. This as preparations intensified for the pivotal Pool D showdown against Italy at the Women's Rugby World Cup in 2025. So training at St. John Community University in York, the squad showed sharpness as well as spirit, with the assistant coach Franzel September praising the intensity as well as technique. Victory on Sunday would secure a top 2 finish and a guaranteed spot in the quarterfinals, making their clash a defining moment in South Africa's campaign. Now, September says that the team must reset after their emphatic win over Brazil, but all eyes will now be locked on the Italian challenge this coming Sunday.
Oh, look, we scored some tries from the set piece, especially from our line-out and our scrums as well. However, there's one or two opportunities that we missed that we need to rectify. We pride ourselves on our mauling game. So we do want to get some more tries over this weekend. That's why we're here. But we know that the threat that Italy gave us as well. So we're looking forward to that challenge. But the focus for today was on ourselves, get ourselves ready. Yeah.
Meanwhile, September speaks about more on the team's preparations ahead of Sunday's game against the Italian side.
When we came here, we said everyone had good quality time to prep. They had good warm-ups as well. So I think everyone are going to give them a fair chance with the way they prepped. We're not going to underestimate any team here. We're not going to take the title as underdogs as well, because we're here to win a World Cup.
On to some tennis news now. Venus Williams will compete in the women's doubles at the US Open this after being awarded a wild card with Canada's Leylah Fernandez. So at the age of 45, Williams returned to her home Grand Slam tournament for a record-extending 25th time earlier on this week. She though exited the singles in a gallant first-round defeat by Czech Republican 11th seed Karolina Muchova on Monday, but will now return to the Flushing Meadows courts with Fernandez, 23 years her junior. The will face off with the 6th seed Ludmila Chernokon of the Ukraine and Australian Elaine Perez in the first round. Williams, by the way, won the US Open doubles title back in 1999 as well as in 2009 with her younger sister Serena Williams. In golf news now, Augusta National Golf Club as well as the RNA yesterday jointly announced new qualification pathways into the Masters as well as the British Open, so offering invitations to winners from the select national opens around the world. The move of golf's most prestigious tournament organisers aim now to strengthen international representation in both majors, building on the RNA's existing open qualifying series that has operated since 2013. So the new system will begin immediately with players able now to earn their way into both major tournaments through historic National Open Championships worldwide. So the qualification criteria for the 2026 Masters being held in April of next year will include invitations for the winners of the Scottish Open, the Spanish Open, the Japan Open, the Hong Kong Open, the Australian Open, as well as the South African Open. Well, that is a wrap from the Sports Desk at the Sawa. For any sports stories you'd like to share with us, you can send us an email. That's to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za. Alternatively, give us a call. The newsroom line is +27 11714 4459. I'm back with more sports news in the second hour of On The Move. The time has just gone 9:35 a.m. Central African Time for Channel Africa Sport. I am Mosibudi Makura.
Sports on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Ukatili wa kijinsia unaharibu maisha na kutenga jamii. Hutokea nyumbani, shuleni, kazini na mara nyingi kwa ukimya. Lakini hauwezi kuendelea. Ukiona, ongea. Ikiwa unaumia, funguka, kwa sababu kutofanya lolote sio chaguo. Sikiliza vituo vyote 19 vya redio kuanzia Jumatano ya tarehe 23 Julai kwenye mijadala, ushauri, tamthilia, maonyesho ya elimu na mahojiano na wataalamu, manusura, watunga sheria na nchi nzima iliyoathirika na ukatili wa kijinsia kwenye vituo vyako pendwa vya redio. Piga simu 0800 428 ili kuripoti unyanyasaji au kupata msaada. GBV, ikomeshwe na wewe. Ujumbe huu umeletwa kwenu na shirika la SABC.
All right, let's move on right now to our business news.
Business news on Channel Africa. The African Perspective.
Thanks, Benjamin. Good morning. In our top story this morning, the International Monetary Fund says it will be weeks before it can move forward with a waiver for Senegal's debt misreporting case. This as it continues discussions on corrective measures with the West African country. The IMF froze Senegal's previous $1.9 billion lending program after the nation's then new leaders said in September 2024 that they had uncovered debt misreporting that had since ballooned to more than $11 billion. A waiver is essential in order for the country to secure a new lending program from the IMF. Kenya Airways says it aims to finalize plans to raise at least $500 million in extra capital to expand and improve its fleet by the first quarter of next year. This after the airline reported a pre-tax loss of $94.3 million in the first half of this year. This is compared with a profit of almost $5 million in the same period last year. It attributed the loss during this financial period to a drop in revenue and passenger numbers caused by 3 of its planes being out of commission for maintenance. US President Donald Trump has threatened to double the tax on most imports from India has just come into effect. Smartphones and pharmaceuticals are exempt. Trump imposed 50% tariffs to punish one of the world's largest economies over its purchases of discounted Russian oil, risk inflicting significant damage on the Indian economy. The BBC's Davina Gupta reports.
It's a heavy blow for Indian exporters, with most goods now facing the harshest ever tariffs of 50% to enter the American market. Earlier this month, Washington had already raised duties to 25%, accusing India of selling far more to the US than it buys. Now President Trump has doubled the rate, punishing New Delhi for buying Russian oil. India imports most of its crude, and last year nearly 40% came from Russia, which Mr. Trump says is helping to fund the war in Ukraine.
Staying in the US Federal Reserve Governor Lisa Cook says she will sue President Donald Trump after he ordered her dismissal. Cook's lawyers say Trump has no authority to sack her. The BBC's Sarah Smith has the details.
The president claims an investigation into whether she lied on mortgage applications in order to obtain better interest rates gives him cause to sack her. But Ms. Cook has not been charged with or convicted of any offence. Donald Trump is furious that the Federal Reserve has not given in to his demands to lower interest rates. He has relentlessly attacked the chairman of the Federal Reserve, Jerome Powell, but not yet found a reason to fire him. If the president is able to remove Ms. Cook from the board, he can appoint her successor, and that would give him a majority of governors who support his ideas on economic policy.
And now for a look at the indicators, $1 in Nigeria is trading at 1,534 naira. In Botswana, it's 13 pula 32. Kenya, the dollar is trading at 128 shilling 46, and Zambia 23 kwacha 31. Moving to the BRICS countries, $1 in Brazil is trading at 5 rial 42. Russia 80 rubles 47. India 87 rupees 65. China 7 yuan 15, and South Africa $1 is trading at 17 rand 62 cents this morning. $1 is trading at 74 pence to the British pound, 85 to the euro. Looking at commodities, gold is trading at $3,379, platinum at $1,339 per ounce, while the price of Brent crude oil is at $67.32 a barrel this morning. For any business news stories you'd like to share with us, please send an email to newsroom@channelafrica.co.za or call us on +27 11 714 4459 for Channel Africa Business. I am Buntle Hetbush.
Business News on Channel Africa. The African Perspective. The KwaZulu-Natal Convention Bureau, in collaboration with Milvest Advisory and the city of Umhlathuze, bring you the 2025 Tourism Investment Forum Africa. As a global platform for local action, the Tourism Investment Africa aims to promote the secondary and tertiary cities and regions as attractive investment and tourism hubs. Be part of the movement transforming tourism in Africa. Join us for the TIFA 2025 from August 27 to 29 at Tembela Venue, Richards Bay, KZN, South Africa. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Girl, you are the queen. Does it dream, but no, my lady, you are the queen. Anything you want, just let me die. Do. You're the only one I've been waiting for. You're the only one I've been running to. You'll be my shade in a rainy day, baby. Baby, you amuse me. My angel, my Jabari, you amaze me. Baby, tell me, am I your type? And do you like my vibe? Baby, you are just my type. Giving you all my time. Wanna be with you for life, for life. Oh, baby, be my Valentine. Baby, would you wine and dance for me? For me. Be my Valentine. Baby, just wine and dance for me. For me. So shut up and hold me, baby. Let the kissing do the magic. Weka mate, niteleze baby. Kisha niweke mpangoni. Ay, 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 oh. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 oh. Ay, 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 ay. Ay, 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 my baby, you're the only one that cool my temper. You're the only one that I want. Take me to a place I can think of nobody else but you. You make my pain go away. Oh, baby boo, that's why I love you. Take me to a place I can think of no other one but you. Nobody loved me like you. Baby, you just with me like juice. You they give me fire when I am cool. Baby, baby, be my Valentine. Baby, would you wine and dance for me? For me. Be my Valentine. Baby, just wine and dance for me. For me. So shut up and hold me, baby. Let the kissing do the magic. Weka mate, niteleze baby. Kisha niweke mpangoni. Ay, 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 oh. Ay, 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 ay.
Hey, that one sounds like I'm lounging on an island with my cocktail nearby. Hey, in Ibiza or somewhere nice.
Would love that.
Hey,
Would love that for
let's
you
go,
and
buddy.
for me.
Let's just go.
Okay, now?
Right now.
All right, let's go. I'm
Goodbye.
ready.
Goodbye, Channel
Bye.
All right, man. That's Willie Paul with Gucci, and that one is titled You. It takes us to 44 minutes past 9 o'clock Central African time. It's an interesting one. We're talking about rage baiting on social media. How far do you take your emotions on social media? And I think some people do talk about mental wellness on the socials, and I still think like, yeah, you guys are playing with a difficult topic.
Yeah.
I'm okay with like an influencer talking a little bit about how they feel, but when they act like experts rather on that thing, that's when I have a problem.
It's nearly impossible to rage bait me on social media. It is nearly impossible.
But you're a journalist, so it's easy for you to detect it.
No, I don't think it's because I don't go on social media as a journalist or as a broadcaster. It's just as me, right? And I have opinions about a lot of things. But when I go and there are things that stir my emotions, but I don't take them to the comment section, and that's the difference, right? I'm not saying that there are things that happen that might be rage bait that don't stir me. So I am baited in terms of my emotions being stirred, but I don't take it into the comment section. So if I do find something like emotionally unsettling for me, I just scroll. I scroll to something that's next. I move on from that. Whereas the reaction that people want and those rage baiters want is for you to go in there, to flood in their comments, say I don't like this, say no you're wrong, and to comment on there. And what you're doing is giving those people exactly what they're looking for. your thoughts, your opinions, your numbers for their money.
Yeah.
So when you do things that are rage bait, I prefer not to give you money. I prefer to just scroll on to the next thing.
It's a difficult one because I think the ordinary person wouldn't know. And that's what I'm saying, because you're a professional and you deal with these things, you understand content, right? And you understand what rage baiting is.
Yeah.
Someone else who's just not in the media industry doesn't understand it as well as you do. So you've got a filter, you've got a way in which you can decipher whether this is something that you can engage in because you deal with content on a daily basis. That's what I'm saying. You are a journalist. You go into that space as a journalist, whether you know it or not, you know how to decipher the information. And that's the thing. Some people don't know whether the emotions are true or not. And most people are actually thinking that person is sincere, because when you do use tears, I mean, tears are an emotion that someone would say it's hard to fake.
Yeah.
You know, and when you use that as an emotion on social media and someone is interacting with it, they probably feel just because your tears are there, it's genuine. And it's difficult to tell for others.
Yeah, it is difficult to tell whether you're being rage baited or not, because not everybody that stirs rage or any kind of, really intricate emotions in other people had the intention of rage bait, right?
Sure.
It's important that these conversations are happening in social media. So someone would say their opinion that perhaps would get men angry or women angry, but that's still their opinion. Sometimes people aren't particularly rage baiting. They're there to do exactly what social media is there for, to tell you what I think and what my story is, whether or not you like it. And I think it's also up to the discernment of the person who's looking to say, yeah, I will engage in this conversation, but how far am I going to take my anger, my sadness, my emotions within that platform? So yeah, it is tough because not everyone who gets rage bait responses is actually trying to rage bait you.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's difficult because there are those who are genuine, but they're the ones that are riding on the wave of the rage. I had to also kind of decipher for myself, especially I follow a lot of the stuff that's happening between Palestine and Israel, right?
Yeah.
And I find that content very triggering for me, right?
Yeah.
So I had to discern, okay, there are commentators who are speaking on this. There are so many people who are raging out their concern about the situation. And I had to filter out, okay, am I going to get social commentary as well? Am I going to also see the death on a constant basis on my algorithm? Or am I also going to go for conventional news sources? And it was difficult, to be honest, because all those elements had a system whereby you're like, you know what, I'm uncomfortable with this content, but at the same time, I need to engage with this issue because it's a real one and it's happening in this world that I live in. And it's tough, and I think we always have to discern how something makes us feel. And I had to think about my feelings, and that's how I filtered out some of the commentary on that, because of the fact that I couldn't consume that in a way that was going to be unhealthy for my mental health, because it can be overwhelming.
It can be very overwhelming and very unhealthy for our mental health if you are someone that constantly interacts and engages with rage bait. I think it's inevitable that we see it, but are you engaging it, which is the difference? Let us know what your thoughts are on this rage bait conversation at Channel Africa 1. Find us there on X, Instagram, TikTok, and of course our live stream on Facebook and YouTube, and our WhatsApp number +27 63 406 9126.
Got something to say? Are you passionate about issues that matter? Do you have a voice that deserves to be heard? Well, we've got the perfect platform for you. Call in or drop us a WhatsApp on +27 63 406 9126, and we will call you back so you could have your say and be part of the conversation.
30 years of age. I just turned 30 on the 15th of November. So that's who I am,
It's not just talk. It's your chance to air your views. Share your opinion. Engage with the community that values your perspective. Follow us on our social media. Visit our website at www.channelafrica.co.za and get ready to share your views on Channel Africa, The African Perspective. Tune in and turn up the volume. This is Channel Africa. Benjamin Moshatama and Palesa on the move.
Asiqala ka-ake manje sihambe kanje. Awuzweke. Engathi abangizwanga kahle. Lapho uyenze kahle lapho. Yazwa. Uyazenzela. Edo mntana uyazenzela. Bathi uyazenzela. Bathi yena uyazenzela. Bakithi me want to